Welcome to the Paddle Like a Girl podcast. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Paddle Like a Girl podcast. Today we have none other than Brooke Whipple. Brooke is a mother, wife, adventurer, builder, and filmmaker, best known for her YouTube channel Girl in the Woods, where she shares her off-grid lifestyle, cabin builds, and deep connection to the outdoors, and for her appearance on the hit survival series Alone on the History Channel, not once, but twice. Brooke has built multiple homesteads with her family in both Alaska and Michigan, and she's passionate about empowering others, especially women, to get outside and get happy. Hi, Brooke. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, Tori. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Oh, I'm so excited to chat with you. We have had the opportunity to connect in the past. You guys came up here to do Jim's podcast, and so you and I had a lot of time to chat, and I've always just found you so inspiring for many, many reasons. So I'm excited to kind of share more about you with the Paddle Like a Girl audience and just kind of your journey with YouTube and, of course, your off-grid lifestyle and raising your kids in this environment and all of that good stuff. So maybe we'll just start with the basics. What was your upbringing like, and where did your love for the outdoors really start?
I grew up in rural Michigan. My dad was a really outdoors person, so he was a police officer and he was a hunter, and so I grew up. The area I grew up in is very much, hunting, fishing. I guess you would call it redneck kind of country, and so that
Mm-hmm.
was just kind of the culture there to do, that kind of stuff outside. And so I really at a young age, loved hunting and got into hunting and did that with my dad and, boyfriends at the time, that lived on farm. And so, yeah, it was just a rural upbringing. It really common in that area, nothing, stand out, but, it just really made me love the outdoors. And there was a club at school called the Wilderness Adventure Club in high school. And I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. So I joined that. And one of our big trip was going to Isle Royal and hiking the length of Isle Royal. It took about a week. So that's the national park in the middle of Lake Superior. So really
Okay.
cool national park that is, I think they call it kind of one of the most remote national parks out there. You have to boat or fly to it to get there.
Okay.
And so I remember, sitting around a campfire, hearing wolves for the first time on that trip and, doing that hard backpacking. I was only 14 years old. So we did like 70 miles that week. And
Wow.
that just cemented it. Like I just knew I had to do something outside, though, back in the 80s, that would have been, there wasn't really an avenue to pursue. Like, you're either going to be like a big game guide, was pretty much it. The other thing I thought I would love to do is be a taxidermist because that's kind of like this connection to the outdoors, and so I did a lot of home tanning, and like I did some trapping as a high schooler and learned how to just skin out animals and process their hides, turn them into hats, and real low budget. Um, but I just loved that kind of thing. So yeah, it all started in rural Michigan, really.
Okay. So you've been comfortable in the bush and having all those types of experiences for a long time. The taxidermy is pretty cool. I feel like that taps into also like your creative side because you're extremely creative too.
Yes,
So
yes,
it ties those two worlds together a little bit.
yeah.
And I guess with your father hunting, you had access to have those hides and things like that.
Well, yeah, he wasn't doing that. It was totally me. I was trapping those, so I did
Okay.
raccoon and
Yeah.
muskrat and fox. So I had a little trap line, and I would go check my traps,
Oh my
and I would
gosh. That's
have
so
the animal
amazing.
and bring it home, and I would catch skunks in those traps, and my fox traps, and I would have to take everything off before I came in the house because my dad was like, "You're not coming in, you stink." And so, yeah, it was a huge learning process, and I just knew I had to get to more wild country, wild lands. Of course, the West was calling me. Alaska was
Mhm.
always a dream, so that's where that's the next step was heading out west.
Okay. And so when was that?
I went to community college for a couple of years and just really wanted to get out of Michigan. So my friend and I got a job at Yellowstone National Park. And that was my first, real road trip and getting out of the state. And so we had these jobs in Yellowstone National Park. So you're exposed to all these new things and, driving to the mountains and first big road trip. Then I went to work in Vail, Colorado for the winter season as a lift operator and, got to ski for free. And then from there, went to Montana, wildland firefighting for a subcontractor for the Forest Service. So the love of the West was really cemented. So in all of that, of course, you're hiking and camping and backpacking and just being exposed to this whole mountain culture, which I didn't have in Michigan. And so in that same time, I also got to travel to Alaska with some family friends. Their son was in the Coast Guard and they were going to visit him, knew I'd always wanted to go, invited me to go. So I got to finally see Alaska and I thought, oh, wow, that's just great. So fast forward, I ended up deciding a couple years later that I really just I had to go to Alaska. And so I had an apartment at the time. I put everything in storage and got rid of my apartment and said, I'm going to Alaska by myself. I just had a backpack, a tent. I had $200. I bought a one-way ticket to Anchorage and
Oh
I
my
had no
gosh.
plan. I had no job. I had no friends. All I thought was I'm going to fly to Anchorage and figure it out. I'm going to probably jump on a shuttle, go to Homer, which was the place I had visited when I was there before, and just figure it out. So I landed about 2 a.m. It's in the summertime, it's like daylight all the time. So I just slept in the airport and then grabbed a shuttle to Homer. And I remember just like it's setting in on me like,
Hmm.
this is like I have nowhere to sleep. I have nowhere to go. I don't know anybody. And so I asked the shuttle driver, I said, do you know any good cheap places to stay? And he goes, yeah, there's this bed and breakfast. It's $15 for a bunk in the like kind of like the low rent section of the B&B, a bunk and a breakfast for $15. I go, take me there. So he took me there. I dropped off. I got a bunk downstairs in her bunk room and I kind of sat there for a couple of days trying to figure life out. And I there was another guy staying there who was kind of like a maintenance type of guy for her, staying on the property for free in exchange for like doing some maintenance stuff. And I go, ooh, I that's a great idea. Like I'm gonna approach her and say, I will clean, I will help, I will do whatever you can if you just let me camp on your property. I didn't even want to be
Hmm.
inside. I just like let me set my tent up and then I will clean, help cook, I'll set you up. And she was like, but I convinced her. And she goes, okay. So I had a place to live and I had a job, but it didn't pay. So I
Hmm.
was turning her place like spotless. Like I was deep
Hmm.
cleaning her bathrooms. I wanted her to know, like, yeah, I'm going to do a good job for you. But I still didn't have any money. Um, so Homer sits on there's like what they call a spit that runs out into the ocean. And there's a lot of fishing and businesses out there. And I was living at the B&B kind of in the mainland area.
Okay.
So I had no transportation, but I thought probably my best bet for finding a job is out on the spit. And so I don't remember if I walked out there first or what, but I ended up going into it was called the Sport Shed, and they sold basically everything except rockets and mortars for killing fish. So there's a big fishing community. So
Hmm.
they gave me a job. I got a job. And then I needed transportation. So then the next thing I did was find a bike, and it was $50. And so when I got my first paycheck, I had $50 left. And so I had two jobs, a place to live, and wheels. So I spent the whole
Wow.
summer there, and the bed and breakfast owner eventually just kind of turned the place over to me. And she would leave, and I'd be like cooking breakfast and like running the place. And it
Oh
just turned out
gosh.
to be such a great experience. Um, and then after that, I went back to Alaska on some internships for my degree. I ended up finding out I could actually pursue a degree in outdoor adventure recreation management. So I
Hmm.
did go back and finish school and then ended up back in Alaska for internships with the Forest Service in Sitka. And yeah, met Dave and my first real job was in Wisconsin at the Outdoor Skills Center, which was a place to teach outdoor skills to youth at risk and other just community members. It was a great job, but we really wanted to go to Alaska. So then we made the move after we got married to Alaska permanently, and all the more adventures began from there. So yeah, it was a trip.
Wow. I'm just so impressed when I hear of people doing exactly what you did, just like one-way ticket, $200 to your name. I'm always curious because I genuinely don't think that I could have ever done anything like that. Or do anything like that. Like I feel like I'm very like I need a plan. I need to know exactly how it's going to work out and what the next steps are. So obviously passion brought you there. You loved being outside and you loved Alaska from your visit there. What was your what was your hope? What did you think would come of it? Or were you just like I just need to be in Alaska, it doesn't matter what happens?
I was just born with this like eyes wide open world is at my fingertips kind of like nothing's going to stop me kind of an attitude. And I've never been one to be scared of the what ifs because I just feel like everything will work out because I'm a hard worker. I'm not afraid to take a risk and I'm not I'm savvy. I'm not going to get myself into a bad situation. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I just feel like if I didn't try some things, there'd be so much regret.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's exciting. I I love adventure. I love kind of pushing the envelope. And I see that in my son now, which is terrifying. Like to watch that same kind of just go get it, unafraid of consequences and setbacks and struggles. He has that same mindset. And I think, oh my goodness, kid, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, that was same. It was me. He's doing
Right.
exactly what I was doing. So I don't know. I just have just this adventure bone in me that just will not leave me alone. Like just this
Right.
go. You must see, you must do, you must live to every breath, every minute of your life. Just go for it. I feel
Yeah.
like I've always had that.
And so was that the same attitude you took when you had the opportunity to go on alone then, I guess?
Yeah, alone was just this, like, I think people are drawn to it for the ultimate test. You want to test yourself. You want to see where your edge is. And that's so appealing to be given that opportunity to do that in a safe environment. I mean, it's as real as you can get while being manufactured at the same time
Mhm. Right.
because you are truly alone. You are truly doing things by yourself, but there is a safety net
Hmm.
off in the distance. And so, yeah, you just think, well, what am I made of? What can I do? And yeah, that show's fascinating. I was as
Hmm.
soon as I saw it, I knew like, oh my gosh, I would love to do that. And Dave thought the same thing. So when the
Okay.
couples version came up, it was just total luck because we were both like, I want to do this. I want to do this. Like who's going to
Right.
get to do it? Because our kids were,
Yeah.
middle school at the time or late elementary, middle school. So I guess they're middle school.
How do you feel about talking about alone? I'm sure it's something that most people want to ask you about.
Oh yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, okay. I don't want to only focus on alone because there are many, many other things I want to talk to you about, but I am curious what the biggest challenge being on alone was for you with your first experience with your husband, and then also your second experience, if those were two different challenges, I guess, for you.
I'll say right off the bat, they're both wonderful experiences from start to
Hmm.
end. We enjoyed every moment, even the
Okay.
difficult suffering is just a place to learn and absorb and just be. Of course, in the moment, it's the hardest thing. For me, it was starving. The hardest thing was food. I literally um, had no issues with anything else except the food because when you're just that hungry, it is literally it eats you alive. It's eating your body, and
Hmm.
it's all you focus on. It's all you think about, and you just want to eat and you want to find food, and it's that every moment that you're trying to catch a fish and trying to catch anything, you're all in. Your
Yeah.
livelihood, your blood pulsing through your veins is depending on this food, and so it was all consuming, and I got to the point where they told me, they just walked into camp one day unexpectedly. It was a funny story because they came off the boat and they had this box in their hand like this. Somebody was carrying it like that. Dave's like, they brought us a freaking pizza. And that's really odd. Like, why are they here? You bring us a pizza? And they're like, no, these are scales. Oh, he's like, you're going to weigh us? And they're like, no, we're going to weigh her. And that was the
Oh,
first,
wow.
like, oh, you kind of are just not aware. You don't see yourself in the mirror. You know you're losing weight, but you just really don't know. And so they made me strip down and stand on the scales. And then, of course, they leave and they chat
Mm-hmm.
together. And you're like, oh, what's going on? You know, they step away from you, let me say.
Yeah.
And then they come back and sit me down, set us down and say, you know, you're reaching a red line and you've got to change, you've got to change course. How did they say that? Something like you got to change your game plan. We're thinking there's no game plan here. Like the fish are gone.
Yeah.
We're trying everything we can to catch things. And I said, has there ever been a time when you've had to pull somebody from the show because they've lost too much weight? So this is season 3 hadn't aired yet, and I believe season 3 was the first time they pulled somebody because of weight. That's the first season they started pulling people. So I had no idea. I'm not kidding. They left, and that just changed our entire outlook. Like it was like poking a balloon because you think you're at one stage, you think you're crushing it, and then someone comes in and says, "Hey, you're on our radar." And it really was a gut punch to our mental capacity at that time, to our fortitude. It really just had an impact on us being out there. And and so the next week we knew uh it was just sketchy. And that's when
Mm-hmm.
we tried to everything. We made the pot. Dave made a pot. We dropped it, hoping to catch crab. We caught these giant Pacific hairy tritons, which were poisonous giant sea snails. So we tried to eat those, and they just tasted like bile. And I was getting to the
Mm-hmm.
point where just even a bite of seaweed or anything was just starting to make me feel just sick. And so
Mm-hmm.
it was just a mental decline as well as a physical decline from there. And we knew like they're coming any day to pull me. So we just decided
Mm-hmm.
to do that ourselves, to make that decision. And there was such a weight lifted off. Like, okay, we're done. They're going to come for us. We're getting out of here. And then it was like, all I could think about was like, I'm actually going to have food. So
Mm-hmm.
that was definitely the hardest. The food deprivation was really, really tough.
Yeah. And I think a lot of viewers, first of all, you're seeing such a short snippet of
Oh my
what's really going on
gosh.
there. You know, you're out there
So
for
short.
how long were you out there for the first season?
47 days.
47 days. And, you know, you're watching one episode a week for, I don't know, 10 weeks, however many episodes there were. And you're getting to see like 5 minutes of you per
Yeah.
episode at
Yeah, it's
maximum. And so
insane.
it's hard to really get an understanding of what your days are spent doing. Like all you are, everything you're doing is hoping that the end result is we have more food. Like
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
spend so much time doing other things, but like you don't have a ton of energy. You
You
know,
have
you need
nothing.
food.
You have
Yeah.
nothing. You can't even walk across the beach. It's
Yeah.
it's the most incredible feeling, and I will say that it is definitely, if anyone wants to go on a vision quest, that's how you do
Mm-hmm.
it. Because we would go into our sleeping bags at night, and the dream, it would be like, let's go to the movies. The dreams
Right.
we had were so intense and so vibrant. Your brain was so alive because you were so not stimulated by anything else. It was
Right.
incredible. It was
Yeah.
amazing. But yeah, it was a great experience. We left nothing on the table. And so
Mm-hmm.
we left. Dave had this great saying. He would be like, you tap out of here, you get a burger and whatever, and you have instant regret as soon as you have like a full belly that you should have stayed, you know?
Mm.
So it was, but it was also really incredible to have somebody to share it with.
Yeah,
So that was
for
a
sure.
weird, weird season.
Yeah, yeah, and it was the only one they did as the couples. Yeah, I mean, I just think it's a big win that you even did it, you know, and to last 47 days, that is huge. I can tell you right now, it would probably last 6 hours before I'm like, you know, I'm hungry.
Yeah. Well, we were just banking on the hoping the Baird brothers were going to tap out any moment, but that was, that was not going to be. They are tough as nails. We just have so much respect for them. We love them so much. Those guys are the sufferfest kings, man. They can suffer.
They can. They also had a bit of an unfair advantage because they're so much bigger, right? Like, and just the reality is your body turns to whatever, storage it has,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
if you don't have enough, you don't have enough, and so there's definitely that advantage for them. But canoe tripping and all of that stuff,
Oh
that really
gosh.
builds up your resilience to handling some really crappy situations. So,
Yeah.
but I
They're the
think you did
kings.
incredible.
Oh, well, thank you.
I'm glad to hear you have such a positive memory of it, I guess, because I don't think everyone does have that experience.
I think the problem with, I don't think there's anybody that's immune to this with the show that's gone through it, is how you're edited. I think that is a real sticking point for almost every single person, me included. I'm not going to go into what they got right and what they got wrong, but there were some big gut punches for me, how I
Mm-hmm.
was portrayed, and it wasn't accurate to my true experience. It was more for the sake of the storyline or drama and how it was portrayed out of context.
Yes.
And yes, they have a show to build. And the other just heartbreaking thing as a filmmaker, that I don't have access to any of that footage. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't have the greatest memory. So you couldn't write anything down. You didn't even have pen and paper to document your days. I mean, you're literally handing over that whole experience to people and you'll never get it back
Yeah.
except for what goes on TV. So that is just a heartbreaking reality of that, because footage to me is gold. Like that, it's built
Mm-hmm.
my entire, career.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a hard pill to swallow, that I will never get my hands on that footage to actually relive some of my favorite experiences.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's it's so hard. I don't think I'd ever do a show like that again for that same reason.
No.
Like I can't control the edit. I don't have the
Yeah.
footage, and you can't control how people portray you, and let them steal your joy that you had and the actual time in the edit. So that
Yeah.
is kind of hard.
They have to like pick a story for you right off the hop, and they really have to focus on that the whole time, and in order to create a story, exciting things. It's like you're out there so many days, probably nothing really happened, right? You're trying to get fish, you're trying to whatever, and nothing much is happening. So they need to create these like exciting
Yeah.
moments, and so they're fabricating a lot of them, just cutting things together that weren't really even related.
Right. It's the cutting of things out of context is what drives everybody
Hmm.
crazy, because everything you see
Hmm.
actually happens. But I
Right.
know from my time in Mongolia, they kind of portrayed me as just kind of a sad, like unhappy person. And I was so happy all the time. I was so joyful. They didn't show me fishing at all or eating anything. And it's just like, oh my goodness, my experience just so watered down and filtered down to these just few moments that some random editor gets to pick. I don't know. It's hard. I don't think
No,
I'd
I
do it
can
again.
imagine that's really frustrating. I can imagine because the world is watching this and they don't know you. And so
Yeah.
they're gathering all their information about you from this 10 minutes on this hour-long show.
Yep.
And you, meanwhile, lived this whole experience. It was life-changing for you, in some ways. And so to have just that be what's representing your whole experience must be extremely frustrating. I can totally understand that.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the thorough theme of every person that comes out of Alone. Like,
Yeah.
you're always not happy with something that comes
Hmm.
out in the edit, but
Yeah.
that's what you sign up for. You agreed
Yeah.
and you got
Yeah.
the experience, and I am super grateful. And the production
Yeah.
team is wonderful. They've always been great people. I have nothing bad
Yeah.
to say about them. So we had worked with another production company, which was a nightmare on a different show. So seeing the difference in the contrast, you actually really
Yeah.
appreciate people who do good job.
Yeah, you have perspective, I guess. That's good to
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yes.
Um, So, I mean, the major difference, obviously, you have your YouTube channel, which you've been doing for 9 years now. And so the beauty of having your own YouTube channel is that you have full creative rights to everything, and you have the final say of what you want to put out there. So how did your time on Alone change your relationship with YouTube, if it changed it at all?
Well, it didn't, I hadn't been doing YouTube for very long before I went on Alone, maybe 6 months or so. But filmmaking has always just been super, super interesting and what I wanted to do with my life. Besides all the adventure stuff, I really just kind of settled on filmmaking. And I did a documentary in Alaska about a um, famous mountain race. It's called Mountain Marathon. It's held in Seward every 4th of July. It's the third oldest foot race in the country. And they go up this mountain and down, and it's 3,000 feet straight up and down. And then it just starts and ends in the town. That's the only part, like spectators who don't want to climb the mountain, which most people don't see. And I thought, I've got to do this. People have to see this. This race is amazing, and the people who run it are amazing. So my filmmaking journey kind of started back when we were living in Alaska, and I was, documenting starting to document some of our life and like getting interested in that kind of thing. So I had already had this bug of filmmaking before the Alone thing. So being told you have to film yourself was really great. I'm like, cool. I love this
Mhm.
because it gives you the creative um, license to set the shots up and capture things in your way as well. Like you can see that on the
Right.
show. Some people like really put some time and effort into the camera work. But anyway, it just cemented that for me in YouTube. And of course, being able to craft something that will evoke an emotion, like the visuals, the music, just the shots and how everything is put together. I just really enjoy that. So taking people along with me for adventures and then eventually the builds that I would do and that kind of stuff. And it's just something I really love the artistic creativity of. And so, yeah, it was definitely helpful to have that kind of perspective before we went on Alone, but it just really cemented it even more and transferred to the YouTube channel. So that's what I've been doing for the past 9 years, and it's a long time. It's a long time to
Hmm.
do it.
Yeah. I think a huge misconception about YouTube is, from my personal experience, is people think, well, it's this easy thing. You just get to do whatever you want and film it and post it online. Can you maybe clear up some of these misconceptions for people who don't know the ins and outs of YouTube?
It is so incredibly complicated. The YouTube beast itself is constantly evolving, and there's so much to learn and know about not only how to craft a well done video, that's like the artistic side of things, but there is also the actual, like, how do you actually get somebody to click on your video? How do you make a thumbnail? How do you do a great title? And all of these things play together. Do you have a subject? Are you providing value to people? Why would someone click on your video? Like, there's all these things. People just think you just grab a camera and go.
Mhm.
And it is so much more complicated than that. And over time, Dave and I have just learned how to dial that in. And we do have an advantage, I think, because we're both YouTubers. And I feel like we have that advantage in Alone too. We just could constantly, constantly talk about these things. So
Mhm.
it's like having your own little mini mastermind all the time. Dave has over 1 million subs. He's really good at what he does. So we're always talking shop. The thing about being on YouTube for 9 years is it's like the door, somebody's always tapping on your shoulder. You get a video out and you're like, oh, you can relax for literally like a day. And then you're like,
Mhm.
it's go time again. And this has been 9 solid years of this. So it is a job that never, you cannot distinguish between like I'm working, I'm not working, I'm recreating, I'm not recreating, because recreation is what I film. So there is no recreation that I do that is not filmed. And it's just a constant, what is the subject? Is this, it's just everything. Value, why would someone click? Why would they watch?
Mhm.
How long should the videos be? Like it's so nuanced all the time and it's always changing, but it never stops.
Hmm.
That clock
Yeah.
is always ticking and it can be quite exhausting. Plus, you're putting yourself
Yes.
out there, you're opening yourself up for the world, and that is what you sign up for. So you get all the comments, good and bad. You get harassed, you get emails, and it's just, there's wonderful, wonderful people, and then there's people who won't leave you alone. There's haters, of course, there's trolls, and you have
Hmm.
to compartmentalize all this stuff and try to separate yourself. I just had this experience yesterday. I'm like, I, what I ended up having to do with the comment section is, I've got over 450 videos over these 9 years or something. So at any one point, anybody can leave a comment, and your comment feed is
Hmm.
just, it got to a point, I was trying to reach every comment that got to me, but it got to a point where I couldn't mentally, physically, emotionally handle any more comments. So
Hmm.
I had to set up a boundary with myself. Like, I'm going to be in the comment section on the new video, like the first day. And that's it. I have
Right.
to walk away because it's just too much for me to handle. And yesterday, before I left home, I'm just like, I'm going to scroll. It was like still day one on like this new video. I'm just kind of
Yeah.
scrolling the comments. And what sticks out to me is like always like a nasty comment. And it
Hmm.
just sinks into your being and just
Hmm.
permeates your day. And it's like, oh, I wish I hadn't seen that comment. Because,
Yes.
99.9% of the comments are great. But
Yeah.
the ones that stick know this and they love this. It's going to be the ones that hurt. Or maybe
Yes.
there's a little truth to a comment, and you're like, oh, that kind of stings.
Right. It's
Someone
already
says
an
something about,
insecurity or something.
totally. Someone says something, girl in the woods. I don't see a girl here, a granny in the woods. You know, so
Oh my
there's like
gosh.
such things can trigger you and go, oh, I wish I hadn't
Yeah.
seen that. And so you have to have boundaries as well. But it's been a journey. It's gave us a great livelihood and an outlet for my creativity. But I will be the first to say, like, I am reaching capacity. And so
Yeah.
thinking about pivoting a little bit and doing some other things.
Yeah, and it's also like the success of your channel is so dependent on this external beast, like you can keep
Absolutely.
doing exactly what you've been doing for the last 9 years that has been working, and then all of a sudden it's like ad revenue's down,
And it
or
is.
whatever it might be. And yeah, it
Yes.
is, right? And so it's like,
Yes.
what does this mean? Is this going to be forever? Is it going to continue to go downhill? Do I need to change up everything? And so it can be scary because it's like you do work for yourself because you are dictating like how many videos you want to put out, but really YouTube is dictating, no, you need to be putting out this much content this often, it needs to be this quality, and if you half-ass any little piece of this puzzle that needs to go together, it will result in a less successful video, basically, right? So it's very underestimated the amount of work that goes into YouTube. And I think a lot of people kind of poo poo YouTubers and look down on them, but you're taking a really big risk by being a YouTuber.
Yeah, it's absolutely an up and down game, and you have to feed the beast. And you
Yes.
can't just feed it junk food. You've got to feed it high
No.
quality food. And
Hmm.
and also, YouTube is the controller of the game. You have control of some parts of it, but at the end of the day, um, there's more competition than ever. And over time, you can start to see that, like, views are down, revenue is down, you're doing the same thing. It's like, well, you have to have a serious conversation with yourself. Like, is it time to pivot? Is it time to do something else? It could be just changing up your channel. You could be doing a different channel. It could be just taking a break. But what happens is you watch that ad revenue, and when you don't post for, I'm down to posting one or two videos a month these past few years. Um, if you don't feed that beast, all the views across your channel just start to go down. When you post a new video, everything kind of boosts back up again. So it's kind of like a slot machine where you get the win and you keep pulling the handle. Sometimes you win and sometimes you don't, but you have to keep pulling the handle to find out. And
Yes.
it's like ding 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 ding, and then you get dopamine hit, you get a good video, you get good ad revenue, and you're like, yeah, okay, putting out more videos. It like never ends. Like the psychology of
No,
it is just insane.
it
Yeah.
is.
You know, you look at the best television sitcoms, you know, they die. They die a death because they've run out of all of the good sitcom ideas for that theme. I mean, there's Seinfeld, Friends, all of the old, you know, classic TV sitcoms. They last like 6, 7 years. 6, 7 years on one of those is a long time. And
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, because they can't reinvent this situation anymore. What's been
Right.
done is done, unless you just do a whole new show. So, I mean, here I'm year 9. So yeah, I'm definitely thinking about doing some, not quitting my channel, but like I need a boost of new creativity and a new
Mm,
direction to go. And so I'm
okay.
definitely kind of thinking the health and wellness kind of lane coming up for me,
Mm,
because I'm very invested in that personally. I don't share that on my channel
yeah.
because it's not the right channel to share it on.
Content. Yeah.
You know, if you put that
Yeah.
content on my channel, people be like, what the heck is this? So you really
Yeah.
have to stay in your lane when you start your channel, and you
Hmm.
can't just go, I'm going to do a random this or that, because that's not what people subscribe for.
No.
It's all very complicated, it seems like, but it's like, you know, Dave has like 4 channels because he understands you can't put like car repair on his Bush Radical channel, or he can't give YouTube advice on his Bush Radical channel. So, you know, it has to go
Hmm.
someplace else. And that's scary too, because then it's like, oh great, now I've got this other thing I have to keep up with.
Yes.
And then there's going
Now
to
you
be
have 4 channels to
expectations with
manage.
that. Like, oh,
Oh,
I'm going to have a panic attack.
yeah, you were mentioning you're just like, I might need to pivot. It's like a lot of people now are talking about burnout with content creation
Absolutely.
because the expectations are so high. And then again, you're filming your recreational activities. It's
Yes.
like this should be a fun thing for me to be doing. I want to be doing this to enjoy myself, but now I'm actually just stressed out because, is this going to get the views and the revenue, and so there's a whole it's stressful.
The most hilarious comments that I get, these are the ones that personally crack me up,
Okay.
are when I go and do a camp out, right? And people are immersed with me and they're enjoying it and they're calm and they're like, I just put your videos on and I relax and I'm so glad you got to get out there and relax. I'm like, are you kidding me? I was moving the camera every 2 seconds. Like, it is so much work to make it look as relaxing as I am. I'd be like, move the camera,
Hmm.
settle in. Oh, the coffee. Get up, change the camera. Like, no sip of coffee. Like, it's insane. So when people are like, we're so glad you got to get out and enjoy yourself, I'm like, that was not enjoyable. It was work. That was my job. But I'm
I
glad you
know.
enjoyed it, you know.
Yeah,
It
right.
cracks
It's
me
there's
up.
a The lines get very blurred between vacation or relaxation and work,
Yes.
especially because you can turn anything into work, right? It's like, well, I'm going to go on a
You can
vacation
turn
and
anything. Yes.
yeah, and it's like, okay, well, but then we can film it and then we
Yep.
can write it off and then it
Yep.
feels
Exactly.
justifiable
You
to
guys
spend the
know
money on
the
this.
whole
Yeah,
thing
everything.
too.
We can't
Yeah.
just go on a canoe trip.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's how it just sucks you down the big black hole
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
forever. Till
And
you
I'm
go,
sure it's relatable for a lot of different businesses, right? Like I'm thinking like even Paddle Like a Girl, it's like I started because I'm like, well, I really enjoy paddling and I want to share that with other women. But then it's like, well, now I have to do the accounting and I have to find
yes,
like marketing and I have to hire people and I have to find the locations and I'm just stressed out and I don't actually just get to be running the workshops and being with the people and teaching and being on the water. I'm like, this is stressful. So there's so many different layers to being an entrepreneur
oh
that
yeah.
you start it with the right idea in mind and then you're like, you don't get to do the thing anymore because you're running the business. So
Yeah, and then there's the dangling carrot of, oh, get a team. And then I think, oh my gosh, like my head's gonna explode. Like, I don't want to manage other people to manage my stuff either. Like, oh, then I'd have to
mhm,
learn like how to drop box things and like
right.
drop box video files, and how do you do that so somebody can edit your stuff, or how do you hand over your email, or who's going to handle the registrations and the payments, and like that stresses me out too. Like, so you want to grow and do these things, but you're not super good at them yourself. Like you're overwhelmed already, but then handing it over
Hmm.
also sounds like a whole nother
Yeah.
job too. And
Yeah,
then I'm like,
it
okay, I'm
is.
just out. I'm going to go to the woods like I
Yeah.
originally used to do, just by
Yeah.
myself,
Back
film
to the
some
basics.
beautiful leaves.
Yeah, I know. Oh, geez. But what else would we do? You know, that's the hard part is like it's so incredible that this is what we get to
Yeah.
do, right?
I want to make it sound like it's a bad thing. It's just you're turning your passion and creativity um, into a money making machine. And so
Hmm.
it does have to keep feeding the beast, but you also have to feed yourself and your creativity and take a
Yeah.
break. That's
Yeah,
that's a
for
hard
sure.
thing.
Yeah, and knowing when to take a break is really important. Yeah, I'm excited to see what you do next as far as your
Don't say that
YouTube
out
channel
loud.
goes.
I,
No pressure.
I'm like, don't say it. No, I appreciate that.
um, I really want to talk about building because I love the idea. And I say the idea because I've built a few little things in my life that I really enjoy. And so, like, the idea of building a cabin is so amazing to me. And, like, I have a dream that one day I'm going to build my own
Yes.
little cabin. And so,
Yes.
I'm curious what your journey with building was. Like, did you take courses or was this just something you learned completely on your own?
It was something I learned completely on my own. Dave, of course, is very accomplished, but he does not like to work with anybody.
Okay.
So it's always like do something. Like he'd be doing something, I'd be doing something. We never did this like, oh, we're building together like this happy couple. No, it's like you do your thing, I'll do my thing. And so one cabin we did together, I'm like, I really just want to do this together and kind of like learn from you. But he's not that great at working together. So I would just he'd show me things, that's fine, but for me I need to do it completely myself, like out of my own brain to figure things out. So we got the shell up and I said, "How about I just finish the cabin?" And he goes, "Yeah, good. Have it. Bye. I'm out." So he was like very happy to hand that over to me. So that was my first real like I'm doing this with nobody telling me how to do it. Figuring it out on my own, ask questions, and just went for it. And that was just so empowering. I think the thing to remember is everybody can figure it out. Maybe it's not going to be beautiful. Maybe there's going to be mistakes. Of course, there's going to be mistakes, but the learning that happens is so off the charts. So that just gave me a lot of confidence to go, okay, I'm going to start buying my own tools because I was sick of like tracking his down. I want my own tools and I want to build my own cabin and just decided to do it. Now, I'm not so good with like figuring out things in my head. I kind of need a little bit of a blueprint or a plan. Something basic. I'm not talking blueprints like, engineer blueprints. I'm talking like, you
Hmm.
know, pictures and a little bit of help with framing of like, what does it look like? I need to see
Right.
things in person. Like I need to see them, feel them, touch them. I'm a visual learner. So if I have some sort of just, basic plans that I can look at, I can figure everything else out. And
Hmm.
that's how my building has progressed. My skills is just freaking going for it. It's just kind of like the going to Alaska story. I will figure this out.
Hmm.
If you just commit to like, oh, I'm building a freaking cabin and I'm going to do it myself, you will. You will. You will figure it out. And so it's more mindset than skill because I'm a hack.
Hmm.
And so it just kept, I mean, and the more I built, the more I wanted to build things. And the more Dave was like, have fun, because I've been doing this forever. I'm not really that interested in like the enthusiasm I had for it. It was just like,
Right.
I want to build more, and I want to
Yeah.
build something else. It's been a little bit of a crazy like calm down, Brookie, like whew, one thing at a time. Like I just always want to build something. And so that's been the progression, but it's just been like buying my own tools, figuring out how to use them on my own, figuring out how to do cuts on my own. Because
Hmm.
again, you can have somebody show you, but until you actually have to like figure it out and make a mistake
Yeah.
and go, this isn't working, and like, want to pull your hair out because you can't figure something out until you do figure it out, because you will figure it out.
Yeah.
And that has been my entire building journey. It's just going for it, buying my own tools.
Okay.
And like, this is my tool bag. This is my skill saw. These are my drills. You know, this is my
Yeah.
miter saw. Like, I get such a kick out. Like, I have a whole corner. Like, these are my tools. Do not
Yeah.
touch my tools. Like, yeah. I
So,
think people completely underestimate how capable you are to build something. It really isn't hard.
okay.
Like going on alone, it is more of a mindset, more of a mind game of like, can you just figure out, can
Yeah.
you build a trap? Can you figure out how to catch a fish? Like, it's not hard. It's just like this
Yeah.
creative mindset of like, as long as you're open to figuring things out, you can totally build whatever.
But as far as also you're at this property kind of in the middle of nowhere and you're building a cabin completely by yourself. So what is the biggest challenge? Like I'm imagining you lifting up a wall and supporting it to get everything in place. I just what is the biggest challenge there?
Yeah, yeah, it's the physicality of things. And
Yeah.
that is why I'm a freak about staying in shape.
Okay.
I'm such that's kind of why I want to pivot to the health and wellness side of like the second half of your life because
Mhm.
muscle is life and being
Mhm.
strong is like part of it's a major tool in my toolbox. The confidence I have in my own body to do what I need it to do is like so key for me. It
Yeah.
is like a mind superpower in my mind. Like, no, my body is good, my body is strong. I have worked hard and I can physically handle blah blah blah. Now, I have
Mhm.
back issues. I have to work on myself that way as well. Like I have to do certain exercises and really protect my spine. But at the same time, I know I can handle this stuff. Like I know I can grab 3/4 inch piece of plywood and it's gonna suck, but I'm gonna
Mhm.
have like I can do it. And I'm gonna
Mhm.
do it until it probably crushes me on the ground and like I have to crawl out from under it.
Oh
Because
my gosh.
I just that determined to stay strong and like to do things
Yeah.
myself. So I think there is a physicality much easier with a second person to be there helping you. Obviously, if it's just way too heavy, you can use pulleys, you can use winches, you can use leverage. Um, and I will have to be figuring that out because I'm building a log
Mhm.
cabin. I want to do it completely by myself. I have to move these logs
Yeah.
and I'm going to have to use leverage. I'm going to
Yeah.
have to figure out how to winch and use leverage. So it's just like figuring out the physicality of like, you're just one person. And there's no shame in getting help, but like, I usually just
Of
don't
course.
have help. And
Right.
so Dave has ingrained that into me because he never has help. He's like, I
Mhm.
figure it out. I'm like, oh, you're such a stud, right? Like, it's a little hard, a little harder for me, but like I'm still really stubborn of like I will figure out how to get this done. And
Mhm.
so far, I've made it happen
Yeah.
without killing myself.
Yeah.
But staying strong is like one of the top things to do to
Oh
pull
my
it off.
goodness. Um, well, the things that you're building just look perfect and beautiful. Like
Well,
from
thank
my
you.
perspective, like I just watched one of your videos of I think it was like a yurt or a dome, but it had the loft inside and just like the lights and just everything down to the books on the shelf were like so aesthetically pleasing. So you're doing an incredible job, and I'm aspiring to be like you in building something. I just haven't like bitten the bullet. I'm afraid to spend the money. I'm afraid to make mistakes. I desperately want to build like just a tiny little cabin, even on our small
Yes.
property here, just to learn and maybe have a
Yes.
space for extra people to sleep. But I don't know what I'm afraid of. So, what would be if you had a piece of advice to kind of get me off my ass to start? What would you give to me?
I think you should start with something that you can visually see, like, I can tackle this,
Yeah.
like a garden box or something.
Hmm.
And maybe that's too basic, but I would challenge you to go to a any big box store like Menards or Lowe's. I don't know what you have in Canada. They have
Hmm.
books in there and they might have like shed plans. And you can
Okay.
find like tiny shed plans. They will literally walk you step by step through how to build a small shed.
Okay.
And And I go to bed with those books.
Hmm.
Like I just love to look at like all the designs and like what am I going to build next? Like what strikes me? Like and just really pour over like the details. Just like
Yeah.
look at how each thing happens and remember that it's a process. Don't think about the overwhelming look at this huge cabin project or this huge shed. Look at like how do I prepare the ground?
Right.
Step one. Don't
Yeah.
worry about anything else. Okay, next one is how do I put the posts in the ground? Do
Yeah.
that. Like, remember that everything is a process. You have to concentrate on the process instead of the end goal. Like,
Yes.
and I
Yes.
go to bed and I only look at foundation. And when I have that in my head and wrapped around, I go work on the foundation. Then I go
Hmm.
back to the plans. I go, okay, let's look at how that wall is put together. There's headers and footers and studs and on center spacing. Well, what does all that mean? Figure it out. Then build the
Yeah.
freaking wall. And a small
Yeah.
shed, you're going to be able to stand up the walls by yourself. Well, how are you going to
Yeah.
brace them? Like imagine yourself like going through each step, but don't get ahead of the process. Don't look at, oh my word, I don't know how to put steel on a roof. You're not there
Right.
yet. Like,
Yeah.
don't worry about
Yeah.
how to frame a window. Don't worry about that stuff till you get there. That has helped
Yeah.
me a lot.
I like that. Well, I actually was listening to a Mel Robbins podcast recently, and I came away with like a motto that I've been reminding myself of every once in a while. But they say action over outcome, which is basically what you're saying is like
Yes.
focus on the action that you're doing right now instead of what you're hoping to get out of it. It's like just it's basically
Yeah.
just one step at a time, right? And so, yeah, that's a really good way of thinking of it. Don't get ahead of yourself. Focus on what you're working on right now.
Yeah. When I built the
Okay.
Vardo, I mean, that was just a puzzle of a build. And it's like, okay, I got the trailer, right? Like, you start with just getting the trailer, and then it's like, I've got to, like, get the back of the trailer off, and I've got to cut some metal. And, like, I mean, you're stopped immediately with problems. So,
Yeah.
thinking about the whole project, you'll never
Yeah.
get it done. Like there's so
It's
many
so true.
problems at every moment. So
Oh my
just like
gosh.
start with the very, very, very first thing and just don't move forward in your mind of like, this is
Okay.
too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. Yeah, it's true. I mean, every time I'm like, okay, today I'm just going to get XYZ done. And then like X takes 2 hours because, well, this is broken and I need to get a new one of
Oh,
these
yeah.
and it takes forever. So I think I need to change my mindset as far as like pacing. Like I'm not going to get it all done right away. Just, one step at a time and don't rush it. Expect things to go wrong and expect there to be challenges along the way.
Yeah. And also like at least double, if not triple the time you think it will take to get it done. It will take longer.
Okay. I mean, I built a couple things. Like I built, okay, nothing huge, but a gate at the top of our stairs. I don't know if you remember the gate, but like, I
Yes.
feel like I'm pretty proud of that little project because it actually
Yes.
looks decent. It's not just like some ramshackle thing that I slapped together. I took some time. I built the ramp for the front steps for West, and which
Yeah.
is not done to code by any means, but just like little things that I'm like, all right, well, we need this. It was more like
Yes.
a need and so that's kind of where I started, but I would love to have a little project that I can work on in my spare time and also just build my
Yes.
skills and feel good about it. So, um,
You
okay,
can do
I'm
it.
going to
You can do it.
thank you. Thank you for the advice. I'm excited now.
I will say I've had so many subscribers have your experience of like, I want to do this. I just kind of, then they send me their pictures,
Yeah,
sometimes in progress, but a lot of times it's done. And I'm like, you
yeah,
freaking did it. So many
amazing.
people. So
Oh,
it's
that's
so
so good.
possible. I didn't have any experience. Like anybody can do it.
Oh yeah, and also like you're just doing it all on your own and not just on your own but remotely too. Like you're not, in a subdivision with a neighbor across the street that you can be like, "Hey, can you come over here and help me hold this up?" Like
Yeah.
you're genuinely there on your own. So I commend you for that and I'm sure you've inspired a lot of people, myself
That goes
included.
back
I know
to,
you've
well,
definitely
thank
inspired
you.
me.
That just goes back to the physicality of it though. Like I I'm very diligent about working out and staying strong So I
Yeah.
can hopefully do this for a long time to come, I hope.
Yeah, it is so important to just stay active and strong, build our muscles, keep our muscles working for us, which is, I'm learning more and more about all of this because I think I'm at the age of perimenopause.
Yeah,
And so I'm
welcome.
like,
Welcome. Isn't that
I
fun?
know, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm listening to this podcast and I'm learning so much. And she's just talking about, I mean, so many things, but also just how important lifting heavy is for women
Yes.
to avoid, she says, her nursing home prevention plan. But
Yes.
her name is
Yes.
Dr. Mary Claire. But yeah, I'm like, I've learned so much and I want to just keep absorbing more information on how to stay strong and healthy and capable for as long as I possibly can. And just staying physically fit is like,
Well, good for you on
yeah,
getting in there early. I struggled for so many years. I'm postmenopause now, and it
mm,
just wrecks you for so many years, and I had no idea
no
what was
idea.
happening to me. I think it's
Yeah,
more in the conversation now of just general population, like it's becoming something you talk about more now.
yeah.
And I'm so glad I've been on a journey in the past 6 to 8 months as well, learning so much more. Like you said, the
Mm-hmm.
lifting heavy and how important protein is, and just so many things. It's a whole nother subject,
So
but
many things. I know.
yeah, I
Yeah,
I've
it's
I've been
it's
devouring podcasts and books on it as well.
okay. Yeah, it's really really eye-opening. Like someone
It
sent it to me
is.
and I was like, "Okay, it sounds interesting." And then I was like, I had to keep rewinding to really absorb it. Just
Yes.
the amount of like women aren't studied really is really what it boils down to. They don't study women and how hormones affect us and our mental health and our physical like longevity. It's shocking. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good on you for getting in and getting on it early. I
Yeah,
wish I
I
would have
feel
had that
well.
information.
I know, well, I'm really glad that people are being more vocal about it because my mom, she passed away fairly young and she struggled with
Yeah.
depression most of her life, as far as I can remember. And I wonder, like, how much of that was menopause?
Wow.
Because,
Right.
yeah, yeah, like, because she's not, a lot of women who are going through perimenopause and menopause, they're prescribed antidepressants and
Right.
that's it, right? Well, but meanwhile, if they're given hormone replacement therapy or like estrogen and progesterone and all these things, apparently it can really combat all
Get your
these
life.
side
Get your life
effects.
back. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
and
did
so
for
like my
me.
fear is I do not want to die young and I don't want to lose my mind at a young age. My mom had progressive supranuclear palsy, and so she went downhill fairly quickly. And so that's I'm like, how do I avoid this? So
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
So lots to learn, and there's lots
Absolutely.
to there's. I'm sure we still don't know enough about it, but we can only do what we can do. In the
You
meantime,
look
we
great
will
without your
be
glasses,
inspired
by
by
the
you.
way.
Oh, thank you. Yes, it's
Yeah, are
I'm
you
so used
enjoying
to it
that?
now. I am. I've forgotten that I even had glasses until I look at a picture and I'm like, oh
Crazy,
yeah, that's what I
right?
looked like.
That's so good.
Yeah, yeah. It's been pretty fun and exciting. For our paddle like a girl audience, what advice would you give to folks who are, not super confident in the outdoors, but they really want to get started? What would you tell them?
Try to connect with somebody if it's possible that is like yourself, like signing up for one of your classes, one of your events, one of your workshops. I mean, holy cow, you get to learn some skills, connect with other women that are like-minded and on the same similar journey. So I definitely would give that advice to find some like-minded people, because that's always a great place to start.
Hmm.
Um, and if you can't, I gotta go back to my mantra of just go do it yourself. Like,
Hmm.
life is going to pass you by if you're waiting for someone else to make decisions for you. So go into the woods, go wherever it is you want to go. There's places all over where you can rent gear. You can just just go do it. Figure out a way to go do it.
Hmm.
Um, don't wait. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for the perfect body. Don't wait for the perfect age. Just go
Hmm.
get yourself out there and try new things, because you won't regret it. I mean, the key to longevity is, I think, just always learning, always engaging in new things, keep your brain going and keep your body
Mm-hmm.
going. And gosh, I can't recommend the outdoors enough. It is it is where I still go for my outdoor job to decompress. So
Yeah.
uh
Right.
which is kind of funny, like, oh, I just need to go into the woods, I need peace, I
Yeah.
need silence, I need that calmness. But
Yeah.
the paddling, oh, so fun.
Yeah.
I love what you're doing, and I think if you've never been on the water, if you're contemplating getting on the water this year, don't let that pass you by.
Mm-hmm.
Go jump into a workshop and learn how to put a canoe on your shoulders, which is what you teach,
Mm-hmm.
and learn how to do the strokes, and get in with some women and just do it.
Great advice. Just do it.
Somebody else said that too, I think. Nike.
No, well, actually, that's a no, it's what everyone says because that's the reality. It's really just,
Yeah.
you just have to do it. Like, it's really, there's no other answer, whether it's start small or find somebody to do it with, but you just have to do it because it'll pass you by, right? Like, if you're waiting
Starting's the
for,
hardest part.
it is,
Getting started, taking that first, like, oh, I'm going to do this. It's hard. You got to do it.
yeah,
They say just
you
press
got to do
record
it.
when you're starting YouTube. You got to just press record.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to start.
So what's next for you? Can we expect a change in your channel? I don't want to hold you to anything though, because I know it's a lot of pressure.
No, I probably will just keep chugging along. I really do
Hmm.
love off-grid content and exploring off-grid properties and off-grid systems. I mean, I do love that. And
Hmm.
so I just may be starting another channel focused on health and wellness in the second
Hmm.
half of your life, and kind of doing that as well and seeing where that takes me. And it would just give me a different lane to focus on as well. So, yeah, um, you never know how long I'm actually going to keep doing your channel. It's hard to change, change is hard.
I
To like
know.
actually
Yeah.
say goodbye on a chapter of your life is really hard. And YouTube
Hmm.
has definitely been a big chapter of my life. And like, I don't know if I could be able to stop completely. I would
Hmm.
probably just pivot
Right.
to a different channel and, slowly evolve to something else. So I don't know. It's definitely in the works because, yeah, 9 years.
Yeah.
Here I am thinking about a different channel. It would be the same pressures and the same situation, just a different topic. So I don't know. New energy, though. It's all good.
Exactly. Yeah. And you have a lot of insight and a big following. So I'm sure people would follow you wherever you go. Well, thank you so much, Brooke. It was so nice chatting with you.
Well, have a wonderful summer and good luck with your workshops. And can't
Thank
wait
you.
to see you in person again, hopefully soon. We need to all do another camp
Yes.
out.
Oh, that would be so nice. We'd be happy to come visit you again.
Yes, would love that. Would love that.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.